Hello. It's quite late at night, and a story's just popped up which I am really quite shocked by. There's a fellow called Lord Digby Jones. We'll talk about him in a second. But he has attacked a lady called Alex Scott MBE, who's one of the commentators on the Olympics. Now, I've not watched a lot of the Olympics. I have dropped into bits and pieces. He says that he doesn't like her dropping her G on the end of words, like rowing, boxing, and so on. She has defended herself, as she should do, saying that she is a proud girl of East London who's overcome obstacles and is proud of her accent, and rightly so. Now, in fact, the idea that she's dropping a G and that suggests that she's exclusively from the East End would be wrong. Dropping the G in the past was often a sign of being from the House of Lords. So Lord Digby Jones has got it rather upside down. And more than that, if you go back to Shakespeare, Shakespeare was not writing for people who were speaking in RP. Shakespeare was writing for people who had a much more creative accent. I think it's really good to, if you look up on YouTube, Ian McKellen does a thing in performing Shakespeare many years ago, where he looks at the "She should have died hereafter" speech in Macbeth, and before analysing it, he recites it as it would have been recited by a Shakespearean actor. And it's quite charming. Now, I was talking a few minutes ago to somebody about how much I loved the Yorkshire accent, particularly in Keighley. How I love the fact that it's in a major key and it always sounds so bright. But, you know, in a way, or let me give you another example. There's a poet called John Gay, and in 1732, he wrote a poem called Acis and Galatea, which was actually later set to music very quickly by Handel. And the line I'm thinking of here is, "Shepherd, what art thou pursuing, heedless, running to thy ruin?" Of course, it doesn't work with RP. What you have to say in order to make it rhyme is, "Shepherd, what art thou pursuing, running, heedless, running to thy ruin." The G's all go, and then it works, demonstrating very clearly that there's some obsession with pronouncing the G at the end of the word is late 19th century, 20th century, and complete and utter snobbery. And then we look at this man, Lord Digby Jones. Who is he? Who is he? He's a businessman who was bumped up into the House of Lords in 2007 so that he could take a position in Parliament in the Department for Business. You know, I don't really see that he should have any airs and graces at all. You know, it's simply shocking, and that level of bumptious pomposity needs to be silenced. He ought to just resign from the House of Lords immediately, actually. It's humiliating to listen to him babble on, whether it's in Twitter or not. Well, Twitter is very aptly described there, Twitter. He needs to just tweet away and tweet off. I think there are issues that I've got with the Olympic coverage. You know, it should be covered by the BBC, and it should be completely covered by the BBC, and yet things which are so remarkable sports, like some of the equestrian sports, are simply not live. And I don't understand how the national broadcaster can have allowed those events to be given over, to be sold to the Discovery Channel. It just seems to me that the BBC is not worth its license if it can't cover events of national importance and celebrate live our athletes winning those awards. So anyway, just a few thoughts late at night, reacting to news. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.